Hello YouTube, this is Telantara Telvarost. It's been a little while since I've made a tutorial on how to mod Minecraft Beta 1.7.3 using Fabric and StationAPI and everything else. A lot has changed. The biggest change is I moved from Windows to Linux. I'm actually using GNOME with, what do you call it? Just some tweaks. A lot of Linux users would probably not be very happy with this. But it works for me, and it kind of reminds me of Windows, and I just didn't like the direction the Windows was going. Anyway, you came here for how to do Minecraft modding. So I went over in the original tutorial a lot of the prerequisites, a lot of stuff that you're going to need. So you're going to need IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition. On Linux, I recommend using the JetBrains Toolbox app to download this, and you're going to want to download this and then run this executable, and you'll get this, and you can just run this to install IntelliJ, and it will do all the hard work for you. On Windows, you can just go to search IntelliJ, and I'm sure you'll get something to install. You can also watch my original video on how to install a lot of this stuff. A lot of it's going to be the same. You're going to need Java 17 probably to develop, although that's changing. Newer StationAPI will probably let you use newer Java versions, but for now I would still recommend Java 17. Most likely you're probably going to be on Windows, and you're probably going to be a Time64 architecture. You want the Java development kit. You don't want the JRE. This is just a runtime. You're going to want to use the 17 version. You're going to want to have Git. This is essential for managing projects. That's really what it does. If you're running a Mac, in your production environment, you're going to want Gombak. This fixes stuff for Mac OS. Also fixes stuff on Linux and Windows. It fixes just like everything. So you don't need this for development, but when you want to run the game in Prism Launcher, you're going to want to add this mod to your mods folder, Gombak. So that there. There's two different template mods you can choose from. I know I used to show the Fabric example mod. This one is very outdated. I do not recommend it. Probably don't use it. Even if you're not looking to use StationAPI, I still recommend the StationAPI example mod. You can simply just remove StationAPI from the workspace. This one is outdated now, so don't use that. If you are having trouble with this example mod, the official StationAPI example mod, Danny also has his own StationAPI template mod that you could try to use, which maybe doesn't have the same setup task. But for this one, I'm going to go through how to use this. I'm going to be using the StationAPI example mod in this tutorial. So after you have your IDE, IntelliJ, and you have Java 17, you have Git, and you have the StationAPI example mod, which you can clone down. You can either download it or you can copy this, and if you have Git, you should just be able to do a git clone and clone right into it. You can paste that and then hit enter. I already have it, so it tells me that it already exists and I don't need to do anything there. So I just navigated to my directory for that, which is in blocky repositories, because this is a Git repository, and then I started it up. And then when we get here, I'm showing this with the newer IntelliJ look. I know in the last tutorial I used the old IntelliJ, which if you want to get that, then you would have to go to settings, plugins. You'd have to search the marketplace for classic UI, and you would install this if you want to follow my first tutorial and use that classic UI. The other plugin you're going to want to use is you're going to want this Minecraft development plugin. This makes programming for Minecraft so much easier. If you don't have this, your life is going to be very, very difficult, because a lot of the auto completion and seeing the Minecraft source code is just going to be impossible. We used to use Lombok. We might still use this. I recommend probably installing this. And then I guess GitLab is probably something to do with managing this as a Git repository inside of IntelliJ. That's probably recommended as well. And obviously we use Gradle and Maven as build tools, and so yeah, you probably want all this stuff. Okay, when you start up the StationAPI example mod, you're going to get a ton of errors, and that's because it's waiting for you to run the setup script. So you're going to have errors everywhere. None of this is going to work. What you need to do is you need to click Gradle, you need to click Setup Mod, and when you execute this, so when you first open up the project, it's going to take a while to import all the stuff, but after it does, eventually you'll get this Gradle tab. You can hit the elephant, you can open up Setup Tasks. It might take a while for this folder to appear, but when it does, double click Setup Mod. It's going to pull all the latest stuff. It's going to pull latest fabric. It's going to pull just everything that you need. Sometimes this is broken. Sometimes the latest stuff is not working. And if that's the case, then you might want to jump over to Danny's thing, because Danny updates his manually, whereas this one updates automatically. So if you're having trouble with this example mod, just go over to Danny's. It's StationAPI template mod. I'm going to leave links in the description for all of this stuff that you see up here. So when you get here, eventually it's going to ask you for the mod archive name. So you might sit here like, oh my gosh, it's not working, what's going on? Calm down, it's definitely working. It's just waiting for you to type down here in the console. So bottom of the screen down here, follow my cursor, mod archive name. It wants the name of your mod. It should be in snake case. Snake case is all lowercase with underscores in between. So if I want to name this super awesome mod, I want to make it all lowercase and do underscores in between. So then I'm going to hit enter. That's going to be my archive name. Maven group is like, who are you? Like, who's distributing this? And most people distribute their stuff through GitHub. Most people create an account on this website, GitHub here. It's free to make an account, and it's free to host all your code. And this is also a good way to share your code both with other developers and with users, so that way they can know they can trust your code because they can see it and see everything that it's doing. I myself have tons of repositories with a bunch of coding examples. If you need coding examples for anything, feel free to go to my GitHub and just scroll and find what you need and learn how I did it or how someone else did it. I also have links to other people's code, which I've helped them out with. So anywho, that's all there. But you need to type this in. So Maven group, it wants to know basically if you have a website or something like that. In this case, you probably don't. So io.github, and then whatever your GitHub username is. In this case, for me, it's Telverost. So I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to hit enter on there. And now it wants a mod ID. So this is basically, once again, the mod name. But this time, it doesn't have to be in snake case. And most of the time, people will write the mod name in lowercase with no spaces in between. So you can see here it's even suggesting it. It wants to call it super awesome mod, no spaces. And we're going to do exactly what it's suggesting. Which I guess I could just leave blank to do that, but I'm going to actually type it in. So that, just to show you that you could type in whatever you want. And now after it does that, it's going to, like I said, update the latest mods. So it's busy building and setting everything up for you. It's trying to make your life easy, because if you use Danny's template mod, you'd have to go type in all this stuff yourself. You'd have to type in your mod ID right here. You'd have to type in your mod name. Well, actually, we might still have to do that. I don't know. Maybe the setup script doesn't do that. We'll see. You'd have to type in this, you'd have to type it in here, you know, every single place where there was a %s or some string to fill in, or in the Gradle properties, none of these were filled out. It pulled out the latest version of all this stuff, so all this should work together. Yeah. I do notice that this Fabric version is a little bit outdated, but I can walk you through in a different tutorial how to update that. 15.6 is good for everything that you'll be doing and everything that most modders will be doing. To update your mod version when you release it, you can change it here. So this is, we're releasing version 1. If you want to call this a development version because it's an alpha and you're just testing around, you can call this 0.1, the very first alpha version. And when you're ready to do a real release, you can change this to 1. But we'll just say that this is an alpha. This is like a little beta test here of an example mod. Actually, let's go back to... where were we? I've lost my spot. Oh, fabricmod.json. So fabricmod.json is where I was. And right here, you're going to want to specify that the author is you. So in this case, it's Telverost. And then the name of your mod. In this case, it is super awesome mod, and then the description it shows how to mod beta 1.7.3 Minecraft. Nice. So we'll go here. Let's see what the setup mod has for us. It has an initialization listener. Oh, that's nice. It's updated to the latest. That's good. Actually, first, just to make sure that you have everything installed correctly, what you're going to want to do before we even start coding is you're going to want to run a build. So you can see if you hit the drop-down arrow, you should have a Minecraft client run. If you don't see that, you can open up the Fabric folder and scroll down and hit Run Client. Just double-click that. That should run the Minecraft client. But generally, people are going to launch it from up here, because usually this will have an option to launch either the client and the server. I don't know why it's only giving me the client, but this is the StationAPI logo. There's a mod to remove that if you don't want it to get faster load times. But now you can see that we've got a good development environment. Your development environment comes pre-installed with Gombach, so that way you can develop on Mac and other devices. Always more items. You're going to want to go into this, hit the config, and change this to cheat mode. As a developer, you're going to want to be able to cheat in your items and be able to get stuff. So make sure, don't forget to do that. If you keep hitting an item when you're in the world and trying to give it to yourself and it's not working, it's because you're in recipe mode. You can see that our mod is down here. We haven't made an icon for it. Definitely do that. It always looks super cool when somebody has an icon, and kind of lame when you don't. You can see that we have the description here now and the author. You can see when I hover over it, it even says that my mod ID is super awesome mod, which is what other modders would use to reference my mod in their code. So I'm going to log in. I already created a world, so I'm just going to log into that world. And you can see I can give myself items, place it down, just regular Minecraft stuff. Ooh, we're getting a little lag. With always more items, I'm in recipe mode. I can set the time to night, to day, make it rain, heal myself. It's just the classic experience there. So log out of this. And here we have an init listener. Looks like this just gives us a logger, so that way we can see what we're doing. So I guess it already did log. It logged the namespace toString. So if we scroll through our logs here, this is the logs for running. You can see it loaded all this stuff from StationAPI. There should be somewhere, and maybe it's only for the server initialization, it should have printed our mod ID. It says log info print. Oh, I wonder if info. I don't know. I won't scroll too far here. Oh, here's where I canceled it, so maybe it's up here. This line is printed by an example mod mixin, so that's coming from over here. System.out.print. You can do this to debug your code. There should be another one, I would think, from that initialization. I don't see it. It might just be for server initialization, and since I didn't launch a server, that's why I'm not seeing it. Okay, whatever. I guess this doesn't do much. You could probably also just like remove this code. It's just trying to show you what to do to create an event. No, this should run. This is the event bus for both client and server. Oh, the difference between client and server. So a client is like what you run as the player, and then the server is obviously something up in the cloud, no UI. It just runs logic essentially and sends packets in between two clients to sync them up so that they can share the same world. A lot of coding is done with mixins. That's where you inject into Minecraft code. So I can see if I hold down Control on my keyboard and then I click init, it takes me into the Minecraft code. So now I can see Minecraft code, and I'm inside of the Minecraft applet. This is the Minecraft base code. It's the very first initialization of all of Minecraft. You can see it initializes a canvas to draw Minecraft onto, and a whole lot of other stuff. I should be able to see all of the Minecraft source code if I go to file. Maybe not. Let's see. So you can download the sources. I probably recommend doing that. Might not. Sometimes it fails though, which is why would like to see where this file is. Older IntelliJ. I'm just not used to this new version of IntelliJ. Find mixins. It should be in here somewhere in these external libraries. Oh, here we go. Target. Select open file. This is what I want. Click that, and then you'll be able to open the file, and then now I can navigate the Minecraft source code. So if you want to see any of the Minecraft source code, it's over on the left here. Unfortunately, I failed to download it, so this is just going to be a deobfuscator looking at the source code. Ideally, you could download this. The bonus to downloading it is, if it fails the first time, you can hit it again, is that you'd be able to search it. Like you'd be able to Control F through the source code. That's why I really want to see it succeed. So I'll just try a second time. I think if it fails the first time, it tries with a different downloader. So I think it maybe tried with something else and then switched to Vineflower. I'm not really sure. So now I have it. But anywho, you can open up this. And I'm currently looking at the client code, which has a lot of the rendering logic. If you want to change how something looks in the game, it's probably going to be here in this render folder. Change particles, change models. Well, actually, you probably won't be doing that. Change GUIs. If you want to create a new screen, you can see how different screens work. See what code runs for the chat screen, or for the confirm screen, or for create world screen. If you want to look at blocks, there's code for all the blocks. This is the code for the cake block. You can see that it's probably got an on use. Yep, try eat. When a player tries to use it, and then they can heal a little bit, player.heal. We now use Binny mappings, and Binny's basically completely mapped. There's a few methods that don't have names, but everything should be humanly readable. Back when things weren't humanly readable, it would say like method 1670 or something like that, and you'd be really confused and you wouldn't know what it did. But now we have names for basically everything. Huge thank you to Slanelight and the Ornitha team for all those mappings. So you can look at block example code, you can look at item example code, see how beds were coded, see how door items were coded. These are kind of bad examples. Probably what you care about is like sword item. Like you want to make a sword is what a lot of modders like to do. So it'd be like this. Actually, let's try and make a sword, because yeah. And to do that, I'm going to look at one of my Minecraft mods as an example. I'm probably going to pull up, let's do tells drinks. So I made a drink mod a while back, and it added some items. Oh, actually this is a bad example. This is mostly added blocks. Or no, did I add items? I did. I added one item, clay mug. So this is probably what we're going to be looking at. If I want to add an item, this is what my clay mug texture looks like, but I'm going to need an event. StationAPI mostly runs off of events. So here's an item listener. I'm going to copy this. You can also, a great resource is the StationAPI wiki. And this has example mods and different things basically for doing a lot of basic stuff. It doesn't have everything, but it has a lot of good stuff. And there should be something for modding tutorials, adding a item. You see that this has a lot of the same stuff that you're going to be doing. Great tutorial. Definitely follow this. It's going to be saying a lot of the same stuff that I'm saying. But anyway, I'm going to copy this item listener, so I can just copy that. If you want to use tells drinks as an example, you can search my repositories. And you can download it as a zip, or you can copy it and clone it just like we did the other repository. Anywho, then I'm going to paste this into the initialization item listener. I'm going to add it to Git, so that way it's being tracked. And now I have to change this to be my mod. So my mod is IO GitHub Telvaros super awesome mod events init. And this is a mod helper, which doesn't exist. So we're going to delete that. And I don't have a clay mug either. That doesn't exist. So I'm going to delete that. Which I need to create an item. So let's create a new folder for items. Item. Is it just, no, maybe it's just item. I don't know. Let's look. Oh, it is just item. I'm going to copy this clay mug here too. You don't need to create, let's rename this. I'm trying to go fast because people don't like super long tutorials. So clay mug, but we're actually going to rename this. Name fire sword. I saw somebody wanted to create a fire sword, so I'm just going to do that. You can make a custom tooltip for your item using the custom tooltip provider. So then I can make it say something like, is really awesome. And that'll, when I hover over it, it'll say that. Maybe I'll put that on a new line. So there. That tells it to be one line down. Oh, actually, the better way to do that is just to make it. So this adds it to the current line. Let's do a comma. So this is a string. So if I do a comma, it'll automatically add it to the next line. If I want to add to this one, I'll just do this. Is lit. And you see the difference between adding to this string and then creating a new line with the comma. That's because it's an array, and the array does. Like it's running out of power, but now I can do the fire sword, and actually we're going to extend template sword for this. So there's a lot of templates for a lot of different things, just to make your life easier. And it looks like cannot resolve method identifier. The super is probably wrong. Show context actions. Let's go into template sword. So control click into this, and you can see that why it's upset because it wants an identifier and a tool material. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to change this method to pass an identifier and a tool material, and then I'm going to pass both of these into the base class. So for Java, this is inheritance. We've basically taken on all of the code which is inside of here. We own all of this code. We own all the code which is in the sword, which means we have the post hit, post mine, get attack damage is suitable for. And we're going to want to override the post hit. So we're actually going to copy that and put that here. So now we can change what happens on hit. Is identical to a super method. Oh, so let's just say we want to increase the damage of the sword. So now it does 2 attack damage. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to living entity target. We're going to light the target on fire. So let's do target.fireticks, and we're going to do plus equals. So we're going to add fire ticks to it. We could just do equals. We could just say he's on fire for 20 ticks regardless of what's happening. But if we do plus equals, then that means he's going to be on, if he's already on fire, he's going to be on fire for another 20 ticks. Maybe we'll just do equals. Most of Minecraft code just does the stationary flat and doesn't add it to the initial ticks and make them burn for even longer. But I think that'd be kind of cool, really, to add it. So then inside of the item listener, we're gonna find the fire sword. So when you type it in, it should have some autocomplete. Just hit tab, and that'll auto add the item for you from your mod. So it was an IO Telvaros super awesome item fire sword. We're gonna want to change the namespace of this to be fire. Oh, this is a good point. I'm missing my namespace. So the namespace most times is going to come from some base class. In this case, it's inside of the init listener. So you're going to want to take it from here. So let's do init listener, and then you could namespace .id fire sword is going to be the name. Why is it upset? Oh, we need a tool material as well. So we said we want to need an identifier, so that's the first property of the fire sword, but then we need to pass in a tool material. So let's do tab tool material dot What is it? We're gonna say it's kind of like an iron sword. Now these tool materials have different properties, so if you didn't want to do that, you might want to create your own item if you don't want to inherit what iron swords do, because this is going to make it behave kind of like an iron sword. So once again, I need the namespace, so I'm going to get the init listener namespace, and I'm going to need a translation key, so fire sword. To name it, I'm going to need resources, so I'm going to open up StationAPI assets example mod. Oh, this is named wrong. It should be called example mod. You're going to want to refactor this name from example mod to be, in my case, super awesome mod. Whoa, why is this upset? Oh, okay. So I think it was actually renamed. I just think it's taken a while to... Let's just open this up. It should fix itself, I think. I think this actually did get renamed, but for some reason it's not showing up correctly. Let me try to rename it one more time. This is definitely Java messing up. Okay, there. See the name updated. For some reason it just didn't think that the name was there, but it's really there. Yes, that's a great reminder. So if we want to do, it's probably item, and then this will use your name for your mod ID, which is super awesome mod ID. I could type that in if I wanted to. I could type in super awesome mod, and this would still work. But I'm using the @ will make your typing easier. And this is going to be the fire sword, and it's going to be the name, and it's going to be fire sword. This is the English name, so that way people can do translations. And I believe that's correct. Let's go look at the clay mug name just to make sure that I didn't do anything weird here. So tell strings, StationAPI, language, Ian, and oh no, okay, that is right. Item @ clay mug name. So we did the same thing. We're good. We have enough code to get the item. Oh, let's rename this fire sword. So the reason why we're making this all caps is because it's not really supposed to change. In fact, we should probably make it final. That basically, oh, does that work? Oh, because we're assigning it. Okay, that doesn't work. Whatever. That means, this basically means we don't want people to change it. It's supposed to be a constant. It's supposed to never change. And the reason why I do this items array is so that way it makes it very easy if I want to access all my items to add them like to creative mode or something. I just have a big list that I can add using a for loop. But you really only need to do this here. So now if I run the game, we'll see that I've added a fire sword to the game. It doesn't have a texture. I haven't created a texture or anything. I've just created a name. So I'm just going to have this like little blocky item. So yeah, we'll load into here. Yeah, I'm skipping over some of the boring stuff, but I'm going to loop back and cover some of it in a second here. There's also a ton of errors you can run into while modding, so these tutorials sometimes become out of date. But here in AMI, I can scroll down. If you made a block, it's probably going to be right here at the end of blocks, right before the first item, right after the last block, right before the first item. So since we made an item, it's going to be at the very end of items probably. And I don't see it. Why do I not see it? Oh, that's right. So easy mistake to make. We did not add the item listener to our event bus, which means it didn't get registered. So we're going to want to add, this is in io.github, Telvros super awesome mod. It's in the events init folder, and it is called not init listener, but item listener. So now we've added this event here, which means that StationAPI will recognize that this exists. It will launch this code, and it will register this item into the item registry. So let's go do that now. Yeah, we fixed so much stuff since the last tutorial. I remember half my screen used to be white when I was modding. Gombach fixes that, so no problems anymore. Now I go to the end of the list, and there it is. It looks like a hat because I haven't given it a texture. It's from, you can see I have fire sword is right there. It says is lit because I added that to the first line, and is really awesome as the second line. It's from the super awesome mod. I don't know why it looks like a leather hat. I need to give it a texture. It looks like actually the name doesn't need these quotation marks. It added the quotation marks into the game. So those aren't needed. And now this is going to act like a sword, even though it looks like a hat. We'll give it a texture here in a second. Oh, that's not a good example. I was going to use it on the cow, but it should light him on fire, but he's going to put out the fire right away because he's not... oh, you see he got lit on fire for a second because he's not... He's in the water, so obviously he's going to put out fire really quickly. But you can see it's taking damage like a sword. It killed him in 2 hits like a sword does because I gave it 2 attack power. It's just... that's going to instantly kill him too. He doesn't have a lot of HP. There's not a lot of mobs. It's not a very good spawn. Oh, here, perfect pig. When a pig dies on fire, it drops bacon. Oh, he wasn't on fire for very long. I wonder if I have the ticks wrong for how long they're supposed to be on fire. Let's just try hitting one more pig. See what happens. Run over here. Yeah, man, that fire went out instantly. Let's look at our fire sword code. 20 ticks. Is that just not long? Oh, you know what 20 ticks is? 20 ticks in Minecraft is 1 second. I guess people who are used to Minecraft would know that. So if we want 5 seconds, we want 100 ticks. Then he'll take... every second is half a heart of damage, so he'd take 2.5 hearts of damage. That pig will probably die instantly, realistically, because I've already hit him. And my sword does 2 attack damage. Maybe I should have lowered my attack damage to 0. Then he would have not died on this hit. But let's just see. Yep, he died instantly. The sad times. Can we find another creature to test our weapon on? It's not very good spawning in kind of in an ocean. There we go, another pig. Perfect. We love pigs. And actually, we're not getting cooked pork chops, interestingly. We're just getting raw ones. Maybe because they're not on fire when they die? Let's see. But you can see they're on fire now until they die. Since I increased the amount of time that they're on fire. There we go, cooked pork chops. Yeah, they just weren't on fire long enough to cook them before. All right, cool. So we want to add a texture, right? So to do that, we need to add a folder in the StationAPI folder called textures, and we're going to need to add a model. And there's different models for items and blocks. So if you make a block, you're going to have to do a block model. And if you make an item, so if you make a block, you're going to have to do both the block model for what it looks like in the world, but you're also going to have to do an item model for what it looks like in your hand. For just the clay mug, we only need to do this, and we don't need to do the other. I think this tutorial is going to have to end because my computer's about to die. But maybe that's good. That's for the best. You'd create a 16 by 16 image, throw it in a textures folder. You'd create a clay mug. Should be in here. Oh, it's empty mug. That's probably what it's called. No. Is it in here? Texture listener. No. Oh, yeah. You can do it this way. So you can just use the texture, I think, straight from the texture directory for items. So you'd create a... This is a client-side method. So this would just be on the client event bus. So texture listener. And then you would add... You'd take your item, so you'd import the item from your item listener, and you'd set the texture using your init listener namespace ID item, slash the name of the texture PNG, which is clay mug. You should name it firesword_PNG, just so you don't get confused with all the names. And we're going to wrap up the tutorial there because my computer's about to die. But I hope this was a good tutorial for getting the basics of StationAPI, covering a lot of the new stuff which has happened. I hope to cover more stuff in detail, but this was a basic rundown. Thanks, take care, bye.